Hi, my name is Stefan Erasmus, and in 2021 I made my very first short film. I was the producer, writer, and the director with no real prior experience in filmmaking. My background is in acting, so I know what it's like to be on set, but all the behind the scenes issues were new to me. In this video, I want to take you through the 3 biggest lessons I learned while making that short film and how I will apply them to future projects. Now, I must prefix this by saying that I am not an expert in filmmaking. I am still learning. So all of the tips that you're going to receive are coming from the perspective of a newbie, of someone who is still experiencing everything. But hopefully you can find some value in that. Also, stay to the end for a bonus tip. I understand that I could have just said that there are 4 tips instead of 3, but you know, algorithms and YouTube and everything. So let's get straight into it. Planning is everything. For this production, I was doing so much producing behind the scenes that I didn't have time as a director to do proper shot lists. Most of the time, I just did the initial master shot, followed by a bunch of coverage. Now, moving forward, I would not recommend this. If you can, plan out every single shot, every single frame of your film. This will not only result in a better overall film, but it will also help you be more efficient on set and solve any issues that may come up. An example of this would be that maybe while planning out the scene, the shots for the scene, you realize that instead of hiring or renting out an entire train, you actually only need the actors in a very small cabin. This will in turn save you a ton of money and save you a ton of time on set as well. Now, when it comes to planning out the shots, there are a couple of ways you can do it. You can do storyboards, or you can simply just do an Excel spreadsheet. I will leave some links down below to resources that I've used in the past and that I'm definitely going to be using moving forward. I would argue that as a small production or a low budget production, the most cost-effective, impactful tool that you could use is planning. Moving into my next project, I'm definitely going to be using a combination of storyboarding and reference pictures, as this will just help me visualize each and every frame. Now, for some strange reason here in South Africa, we have to fight for rehearsal time. Producers just see it as a waste of money. Please, 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 if you can, rehearse with your actors. For this short film that I did, I had 3 rehearsal days. I had one initial rehearsal where it was a read-through of the script, plus any questions that the actors had, and the other 2 rehearsals were stunt rehearsals. Because we had 2 fight scenes, I needed time to rehearse the choreography with the actors. Sufficient rehearsal time allows the actors and the director to begin to dial in performances. Now, I understand when doing a short film, you don't always have the budget to have a rehearsal, but moving forward, I definitely will be employing Zoom rehearsals, you know, just as a basic read-through and any questions that the actors might have. Now, obviously, first choice would be to see them in person. If you only have budget for 1 rehearsal day, what I would suggest you do is go through 1 scene. Do the blocking, do the character choices, do as much as you can on that 1 scene. This way the actors can go home and apply everything that they've learned in that scene to the rest of the film. Having a theatre background, I cannot stress this enough, how much of a difference rehearsal does. Rehearsal is a time for discovery, and there's only so much one can discover during a day. Now imagine if you had an entire week or an entire 2 weeks to rehearse with your actors. How much discovery can actually take place during 2 weeks. More rehearsal will just result in a better film overall. Now, not only are rehearsals important for actors, but they're also important for your technical crew. Because sometimes you might have a very technically demanding scene, and spending a day or 2 beforehand with your camera department, with your lighting department, with everyone involved would just help speed up the process on the day. As a director, you are responsible for the overall creative through line of the film. I don't mean genre here, I mean, is it a film noir film? Are you doing a post-apocalyptic modern dystopian paradise? If you watch some of the films of the 90s, I'm a 90s baby, so a lot of the films from that, in my opinion, from that era, have so much character to them. From the very beginning of the film, the very first second, you begin to get a feeling of what this film is going to be about. You get a sense of the creative through line, from the font being used to the logos that appear to the soundtrack that's already starting. This speaks so much to the level of care that the director has brought to the film. It almost makes the audience feel safe that they're going to be taken on a journey and not feel like they're going to be let down at any point. This is also one of the aspects that doesn't actually cost that much money to do. It's all about having your artistic vision carried through from the beginning of the film straight to the end of it. On my future projects, I'm going to be making sure that the creative through line is as clear and deliberate as possible. Just a little side note here for directors. You have to be very careful not to let your artistic vision be influenced by other people. It's so easy for you to be influenced by the DOP or the producers or, sometimes the acting coach. Even I've been on set where the acting coach started directing. Just madness. You are responsible for the creative vision of the film. I understand that you're still learning, and yes, please take advice. You're still learning, so there's so much that you're going to get wrong. So please listen. But at the end of the day, the final decision should be yours. And yes, of course, on bigger productions, when you start getting into the billions and billions of dollars, the studios tend to take over a lot more. But for small indie projects, you have a lot more creative control. So please take that control, as your artistic style goes a very, very, very long way. Just look at Stranger Things. Okay, bonus tip number 4: editing can make or break your film. I think that there are 3 departments that can truly make or break a film. That is the director, producer, or the editor. With my project, I didn't have a lot of money for post, so we didn't have that long a time to spend on editing. I wish we had more time, but unfortunately we didn't. The edit is so important because you can solve pacing issues in the edit. You can address issues of mystery. And what I mean by that is, imagine you're shooting a mystery murder film and the murder weapon is seen in one of the shots. You don't have to show the murder weapon until the very end. Sometimes withholding that information from the audience is so intriguing, and you can decide that in post. Another thing that one of my director friends said to me is, just because your film is written in a very linear way does not mean that's how you need to present it. In the edit, you can decide, hey, why don't I start in the middle of the film and then suddenly have flashbacks to the beginning and then catch up to that point. And that's something you can play with in the edit. So the more time you have, the more you can explore. Again, it's a point of discovery. Here you begin to uncover the film and what it is. I mean, an example here would be Justice League. These are the 4, I guess, biggest things that I've learned from making my first short film. If you've made a short film in the past, please comment down below what your biggest lesson was. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you found some value from it. Cool. Cheers.